Good morning, friends. Welcome back to my channel. It is so good to see you. I am so happy that y'all are here today. I'm really looking forward to spending some time together. We are going to be hanging out in the studio doing some Christmas crafting. I have a few really fun whimsical craft ideas for us to work on today, or craft projects for us to work on today. So I'm so glad y'all are here. Thank you for joining me. And without further ado, let's get to Christmas crafting. Our first project is inspired by one of my favorite YouTubers, and I will leave the link to her channel down below because y'all, she is amazing, and a lot of the projects that she works on really inspire me to create my own. So we're going to create this cute little gingerbread fellow, and I'm just going to start by pinning my pattern onto the fabric, and the fabric that I'm using here is just some cotton fleece because I didn't have any actual felt for this. So after I get it cut out, I'm going to clip all my pieces together to hold them in place so that they don't slide all around as I am sewing them. Once I have these pieces all clipped into place, we will take it to the sewing machine, and we're just going to sew all the way around the outer edges. And I am sewing this right sides out because I want raw edges. And I'm going to leave a gap at the top so that we can stuff this later. Now that I have this little guy all sewn together, I'm going to go ahead and use some distressing ink to color this so that it looks a little bit more gingerbready because I didn't have any actual gingerbread colored felt. But felt would work really good for this project. So if you have, you know, the color felt that's gingerbread color, that would be a great way to do this. So I'm just going to ink this whole thing up with my little inking sponge, and I'm going to do both sides of our gingerbread fellow. All right, now that our gingerbread fellow is all inked and looking gingerbready, and I've got him stuffed, we are going to move on to embellishing this cute little guy. And I'm going to start by putting some buttons on, and I'm just using some embroidery thread here to just stitch some stitching through the buttons to give them more of that, sewn on look. And once I have those all stitched, I will just use some hot glue to hot glue these buttons in place. And I am using 3 buttons because I like to do everything in odd numbers, especially 3s and 5s. It seems to be the magical number when, decorating and embellishing and whatnot. So we're just going to put 3 buttons on this little guy, and then we will move on to some extra embellishing. So of course our little gingerbread fellow has to have some eyes. So I'm just using some black berries that I had on hand, and I'm just going to hot glue them into place. And once I have gotten those hot glued down, we are going to put some cute little squiggly frosting type effects on his hands and his legs, and I'm going to use hot glue to do this because of the nature of the fabric here. I thought hot glue would work the best. And then I'm just going to take some sprinkles, like these are just normal baking cookie sprinkles in silver, sprinkle them on the hot glue, and I'm going to do that for all 4 of his little appendages, his arms and his legs. And one of my best tricks for this would be to hold your hot glue gun a little bit a ways because you get finer a little bit finer glue, like glue pattern, rather because the very first arm I did, I got kind of clumpy glue. So once I held it a little further away, it made finer, the pattern finer. I hope that made sense. But anyway, this is how he looks all glittered up. I'm going to set this aside for a little while so that hot glue can dry, and we're just going to embellish the little spoon because our gingerbread guy has to have a spoon. I just think that's so cute. And I'm just going to put some little berries in the spoon to just, I don't know, resemble like little candies or something. And this cute little tag that I had that says joy. And then we will add some greenery picks to our little snow fellow. And I'm kind of setting these a little bit off center and like not right in the center of his neck. And I'm just gonna keep adding some embellishments with some hot glue. Of course, I'm hot glue queen. I think I love to use hot glue for everything. And then I'm gonna add a little bow, but the bow I'm gonna put a little bit more centered to our gingerbread fellow's head. I'm gonna clip the bow, and then I'm going to just kind of do some wrinkling and crinkling on this little guy and place the bow, glue it into place the way I want the little ribbon to fall so that it holds and stays where I want it to be. Then we did hot glue the spoon on, by the way, and I don't know what happened to my coverage from that. Somehow I lost it. But the spoon is glued on also, and now I'm just going to add some embellishments. I love the little bell. I'm going to add a bell to his little bow, and then some berries to the top, and then this little guy will be all done, and he just comes out so cute. I love the end results. This next project might very well be my very favorite of all the ones that we make today. We are just going to cut out a cute little moose, and again I'm using that same cotton felt batting. It's not felt, it's cotton batting that I bought like in bulk at Walmart, I think. And I'm just going to cut my little moose out, and this pattern is from my favorite little YouTube person, and I will link her channel below in case you're interested in downloading this pattern because she did provide it as a free pattern. So I'm just cutting this out, and once it's cut out, we will take it to the sewing machine and sew all the way around. And then again, I'm going to leave a gap at the top of his head so that we can stuff him later. And for his nose, I'm going to use a coordinating fabric, just this cute little gingham Christmassy type fabric to cut his nose out. But I also did cut out some extra felt to go behind his nose just to give his nose a little extra fluff. So actually, before we take him to the sewing machine, I'm going to go ahead and glue the nose in place on just that very top fabric. And I'm using this is Aleene's fabric glue. It's one of my favorite fabric glues. I really like this one a lot. So I'm just going to glue all this in place. And then only on this very top part, we are going to do some hand stitching. And I'm just using some embroidery thread here. And I'm going to stitch all the way around his cute little nose to just give him a little bit of that whimsical handmade look. So we're just going to start by coming in from the back with our thread and then peek. So we'll come in through the back like you see me do here. And then I will come out the top a little ways off the fabric from the nose so that we get this cute little stitching effect. And I'm going to do this all the way around his nose, and it just turns out so cute. And you could get really creative here too. You could like crisscross your stitching if you wanted to. I made 2 of these little fellows, and on the other one I did do some crisscrossing on the stitching, and it looked really, really cute. So again, we're just going to go in from the back and then a little ways off the fabric through to give this cute little stitch effect. Now I want to give this little guy some fun eyebrows. So I placed his eyes in position, and if I was to do this again, I would have glued his eyes down before doing this part. So just a little tidbit of info there. I didn't glue them in place because I wanted to make sure that I got that stitching, and I wasn't sure I'd be able to get it all the way through with the eyes, there. So anyway, do as I say, not as I do. Glue the eyes down first and then make your cute little eyebrows. Isn't he cute, y'all? Okay, so now that we have that front piece all stitched, I'm going to put my right sides out again on this one because I do want raw edges, and I'm just going to sew all the way around this guy, leaving a gap at the top of his head so that we can stuff him later. Now that our little moosey friend is all sewn together, I'm going to go ahead and start stuffing him, and I am just using some cotton fiber fill here polyester fiber fill to stuff him. I get mine at Walmart. It's probably the most inexpensive place I have found it so far is at Walmart. So I'm just going to stuff him pretty full. I don't go really tight, but I do do pretty firm. And his ears were a little bit fiddly, so just be patient and take your time. And this is what he looks like all stuffed. And now we're going to add his antlers. And I'm just using some of these faux branches that I had on hand from a pick that I got at Hobby Lobby during the fall, actually. And I thought these would make really cute antlers for this little guy. So I'm just going to glue those into place, and then we will start embellishing him. And I'm just going to add some cute little pine boughs, and we'll add some bows and some bells, and just have fun, be creative, do whatever feels good to you. Sometimes I tend to go less is more, and then sometimes when I'm embellishing, you've heard me say this before, more is better. So in the case with this little guy though, I did kind of tend to go a little bit with the less is more, and I kept things very simple with him. And then I'm just going to do some little crinkling on his bow here and glue it into place so it doesn't move around, because I like that little curled crinkling effect. Then I'm going to add some pine cones to his bow, and then I'm going to add a bell, and we will call this little guy all done. We'll call him complete, I think. He's very cute. I love how he turned out. After I got all of his embellishing done, I decided he needed some bells, so I just strung these bells on the end of some cute little cord and then tied the bells to his ear. These guys came out so cute, y'all. I just love them, and you could use these as filler, or you could set them against a pillow. They would just be cute used as accent pieces anywhere, or you could even stuff them in your tree, because I think they would be really cute in the tree as well. This next project is going to be just a fun, whimsical one. We're just going to make some cute little stockings that we stuff with some fun greenery picks and just all kinds of embellishments. We've made some stockings before in the last couple of weeks, but these ones, I just fell in love with the little pattern and how they're just so whimsical. And again, I got this pattern from my favorite little YouTube gal, and her link will be in my description box. So we are going to just cut the stocking part out of some fun fabric of your choice, and then I'm cutting the cuff out of that cotton batting that I had on hand, and I'm going to fold that bottom edge in to just kind of give it a clean fold, and then sew all the way around that cuff on just one side. And again, on these I am sewing right sides out because I want that raw edge on the outside. Now that we have our stockings all sewn together, I'm going to go ahead and stuff these. And I stuffed these ones pretty loosely just to help them hold their shape, basically. And I did leave about 1/4 of an inch on the top so that we had room for all of our embellishments. So once these are completely stuffed, I'm going to start adding in some pine picks and a hanger. I did put a hanger on this so that if you want to hang this from your tree, you can, or you can hang it from a little hook. You could do so many fun things with this. You could hang it from like a pegboard in your entryway or whatnot. So I hung the hook, and then I'm just going to start adding in all of these fun little embellishments. I'm just using some pine boughs here with pine cones and some cedar branches. And then I add in a little bit of pick with some berries as well. Kind of just fiddling with this to kind of get everything into place. And then once I have it exactly the way I want it, I do glue everything into place. Oh, and I did decide after I added in this little pine bough here with the berries and the pine cone that a candy cane would look really, really cute in these. So I did add in a candy cane as well. And then I just glue everything into place so that nothing really moves around. And then I kind of glue that top part of the stocking closed all around our embellishments. Next, I'm going to add a little jute bow to this, and I'm just using some really big jute that I got at Walmart. And then on top of that jute bow, I'm going to add in this cute little like candy cane striped jute that I found at Michael's last year, and I have used a whole bunch of this. I've really been into bows this season, and so everything I've made this year has had bows on it. So I'm going to hot glue this little candy cane striped bow to the top of our jute bow. And then we will add a bell to the top of that, because, you know, I'm also into bells this year. Everything has had bells, bells, bells. So once I get that bell into place, I'm going to put some cute little rusty stars at the ends of the tail ends of our little bow that's hanging down, like what do you call those, little tassels, I guess. And I'm going to glue those into place so that they stay, you know, on the stocking and don't really, you know, flop around and move around a little bit. So I also glue the jute into place so that it's, you know, got that cute little whimsical curly Q look to it. And I found these cute little rusty stars and the rusty bell on Amazon, and I'll have the link in my description box for y'all for those little pics if you're interested. These came out so cute. I made 3 of them, and I just love how each and every one of them had their own personality and their own character. This next project is really going to be a fun one. I wanted to create a cute little letter to Santa to go in one of my mailboxes, and I wanted it to look like a piece of notebook paper, like child's notebook paper that had been torn from a notebook. So Michael cut this out for me on a piece of wood, and he did an amazing job making this look like a torn piece of paper from a notebook. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint this whole thing front and back with white chalk paint, and once the paint has completely dried, we will move on to embellishing this cute little letter to Santa. I decided I wanted my little letter to Santa to have a front and a back. So on the front, it's going to be like an addressed envelope, so to speak. So I created this cute little clip art, which I will have as a free download for y'all in my description box. And then I'm going to just cut out some accent paper for the backing. And instead of cutting it with scissors, I decided I wanted to kind of give it that torn, ripped look. So I'm just using my ruler here and kind of tearing it against the ruler so that I don't get super jaggedy, you know, crooked edges, but still have that torn look. And I do this with my background paper, like just that embellishment paper, as well as the cute little envelope paper. Alright, now we are going to glue all these down to our piece of wood, and I'm just using this Aleene's tacky glue. I really like this for gluing paper to wood. I use it all the time and I love it. I've never had an issue with my paper, you know, coming up off of the wood. This holds really well, or it adheres really well to wood. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue our little backing piece as well as our addressed envelope to the front of this letter to Santa. So I'm also going to glue that same accent paper, and I'm just using scrapbook paper here, and I think this came out of a packet of scrapbook paper that I got at Hobby Lobby like a long time ago. But I'm just using some accent scrap paper here, and I'm gluing it to both sides because I do want this to be a two-sided project. So you can see here I've got that the first side is like the envelope, and then this side is going to actually be our little letter to Santa. And I just created this cute little whimsical paper and kind of did a little like child's like font, and then I just wrote whatever. I didn't even really think about what I was writing, and so I just put a little letter on there, and I'm going to glue that in place as well. And then I'm going to let all of our glue dry really well. And then we're going to flip it over and do some fun little embellishing on this side of our envelope. So when I was choosing PICS to go on this for our embellishments, I kind of was thinking, like North Pole and Santa Claus. So I wanted to do a candy cane, and then we're going to do some greenery. And I also got these candy canes on Amazon, and I will have the link for them down below for y'all. I've really had fun with these this year. I've used them in a lot of projects. So I've got the candy cane glued into place, and I'm just going to go ahead and add in a little bit of greenery. And I'm just going to kind of keep layering this with a bunch of greenery and some fun little Christmas picks with berries until I get it, the way I want it, until I feel like it's full. And then, of course, we will add a bow because I can't do anything without a bow. We have to have our little bow. So I'm going to add this bow right to the little center of that. And then once I get this bow in place, I'm going to string some little bells because I really kind of wanted some bells on here too. It just screamed North Pole to me for some reason. So I strung these, and then I just kind of layered them until one was longer than the other and tied them in a knot. And then I'm going to hot glue that to our little bow, just kind of tucked it up underneath those little berry picks right there. And once I get that in place, I'm going to add this cute little gingerbread guy to our letter. And then I'm going to put a star on top of the candy cane, and we will call this project all done. I love how it turned out. So cute. And it's going to look really cute. I have a couple of little mailboxes, and one of them is a freestanding one, and that's what I'm going to do is tuck this into that little mailbox. I think it will be so cute. For our final project today, we are going to make some really cute like street light lantern type things for my Christmas village that we started working on together last week. And I've made a lot of updates to that Christmas village, so I will share those with you all at the end of this video. So what we're doing here is Michael just took some spindles that we had on hand, and he's cutting them down so that we can create some cool little lampposts. And this is just a block that he cut out, and he's routering the edges for me to give it that nice, cool, like stacked look, I guess you could say. And so we will attach these to the spindles, and then we will attach our lanterns to the top. So this is what we have so far. This is kind of the look that I was going for. So now we're going to go ahead and take these into the studio and get them painted. And I kind of like how all three of them turned out just a little bit different. We just used, different sections of the spindle, and I like that they all kind of had their own individual look. So I'm just going to paint all of these with some black chalk paint, and I will paint all three of them, and it only took one coat. This black chalk paint covers very, very well. So I will cover the entire part of this lamppost black, and then we will do some really fun, like I'm gonna add some like copper accents to this to kind of give it that really cool metal look. So here's what they all look like painted, and this is the paint that I'm going to use. It's called a metallic copper, and I'm just going to dry brush this on, and I'm using a very dry brush here, and I'm kind of using a gentle hand, and I just kind of put this little copper paint on like some of the edges and in the grooves, and it just really elevated this post and just gave it a lot of sparkle. And so you can see the difference here where I've done one with the copper and one without, and wow, what a difference. I love how this looks. So I decided to add a little bit of that copper to the top of all my little lantern pieces as well. And here's a little before and after. So the one on the left is what it looks like with the copper, and the one on the right is what it looked like without. And now that I've got these all painted and I've got the fun capper on them, I'm gonna go ahead and just give each of these a coat of wax, and I am just using the clear wax by Waverly. I believe this is a Waverly clear wax. So I'm just gonna brush this off, and then after it's brushed on, I kind of let it set for a few minutes and then buff it with a nice soft cloth, and these little lanterns will be complete. And I love how they look with our fun little revised winter village. I've added some trees to this and the lanterns and a little bit of snow. I really love how this turned out, and Michael painted all the houses white for me. I just think it looks so pretty.
Oh, hello there. My name's Mr. Moosey, and I just want to thank all of you for, well, making me today. So much fun.
Oh, goodness, that was pretty silly, y'all. I debated on whether or not I even wanted to keep that in the video, but then I decided, sometimes we just have to let our inner child come out and just go with it, right? Anyway, I really enjoyed crafting with y'all today. I enjoyed having you here. I hope that you enjoyed this as well, and that you were inspired by some of these craft projects that we worked on together today. I know I get a lot of inspiration from so many of you and so many of my favorite YouTube people, so I hope that that is what I've done here today, is give you a little bit of inspiration as well. That is going to wrap up today's video, y'all. Thank you again so much for being here with me. I am really, really enjoying all of this magical Christmas projects that we've been working on together, just all the crafts and all the decorating. It has been so much fun sharing this with all of y'all. Thank you so much for being here. Next week, we are going to head into the kitchen and do some fun Christmas baking. I have so many fun recipes that I want to whip up this year. We're just going to have a good time with all kinds of fun Christmas baking recipes, and I'm super excited to share that with y'all. So I will see you all next week. Until then, y'all take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye. If y'all enjoyed today's video, please consider giving this a great big giant thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. It would just mean the world to me, and I appreciate each and every one of you so much for being here and supporting my channel. Happy holidays, everyone.